Hi everybody, Richard Trans here again at EisphorIA TV. Today we're doing another product demo. This time the company is called EisphorIA and they're from Belgium. To tell us more about it is Veselod. Hey Veselod.
Hey, hope you are doing well today. So indeed, we are based in Belgium and we are rather new to the legal research market. What we will focus on today is the platforms we are creating based on the public data. So
Okay.
for instance, here I will show you the platform which works currently with European Commission data and with UK Competition and Markets Authority.
Okay, 1 second. Before you do that, I'm going to just disappear. And also, before you continue, I just want to tell the audience that you're quite an unusual company in that you're providing competition case law research, primarily across Europe to start with. You're also offering a sort of NLP-driven knowledge management capability. And there's also some elements related to e-discovery, but we'll come back to that in a minute. But today, this particular demo is going to be on the competition case law side of things. So I'm just going to disappear and I'll let you carry on.
Sounds good. Indeed, so we have focused on the self-supervised AI techniques, which permits us to treat a lot of documentation in an automated manner, meaning that we are not doing any hard-coded tagging. So all the things are learned by the system itself. And what we are actually focusing on is the simplification for lawyers on the critical information research, whatever the data set is. Today, indeed, I'm focusing on the competition law side. And yeah, let's start with an example. I think it will be more clear here. So imagine that I'm interested in the engagements between hotels and tour operators. So I'm creating a small project here. And I'm starting the search as we are all used to, just with a few keywords. Now the search has started and I'm getting the most relevant documentation based on this very quick description. As you see on the document shown on the right, we have a kind of a heat map, which not only shows you the document which is interesting, but also the part of the document which is interesting for the relevant query. From here, actually, I can start searching much more efficiently and go towards what we call contextual search. Imagine that I have found some description which is interesting for me. I can feed it directly to the search engine and start using with phrases, with paragraphs, with entire contents of documents. It can be an email received from the client or whatever other textual documentation. So you see that I have got some different document, which is actually the opening of proceedings from the European Commission. And you see that there were actually few documents which were published by them, which is not probably very interesting to go through all of them. That's why I'm grouping them here. And now you see that there is a pile of documents, so that you really quickly go to one single document and you don't spend time on the others. And then you can browse different other documents which are here. The main point here is that you are completely comfortable with searching as you are used to with a few keywords. You can go with more context. You can also play with different filters which are coming from the metadata automatically extracted from different authorities. You can also go through different sources. So here, as I've said, I've used a platform which has two of them. You can also merge them in a single list. That's what we call imbrication. And as you have mentioned, as we are dealing with whatever data set, we can also include your internal knowledge management here. So imagine that you have some archive, you can have an exclusive platform where you can deal with that, but you can also imbricate it together with public sources. We are covering quite a few competition authorities, we are covering different case law subjects, etc., etc. Now, when you were speaking about the search itself, imagine that I'm focusing on exclusively the Turkish market. I can use Turkey as a fixed constraint of must include condition and search with that. This permits me to filter out all the documents which are not containing any information about the Turkey and thus somehow tighten the scope. Obviously, besides that, there are some different interesting features which are maybe less artificial intelligence, even though they include some different bricks we are using for the search engine as well. So for instance, imagine that the search request is interesting for me. I can use the bell icon here and search this request as a watch list. Now, as soon as any public authority will publish information which is extremely relevant to this request, I will be notified and I can directly see the new documents which are relevant. Besides that, obviously, we are also providing some collaboration features. So for instance, I have found something interesting. I can highlight that, comment that, interact with different members of my company, and also archive all the findings I have done and extract them for later usage. So that was like a very quick tour. Obviously, I think if we go towards more details, that will be a bit more of the time frame, but I think it gives a general idea of what we are doing.
Gotcha. Thanks, Vasilod. Just, well, a few questions. One, I suppose one is an obvious one, which is why do case law research, even if it's competition, which is a specialized area, why do that now when there are so many other legal research companies?
Actually, that was based on the feedback we've got from the market. So one of the examples, there was a huge publication of case law in Luxembourg, general, not only the competition one. And the thing is that even though it's publicly available, the search there is really complicated. So the specialist with whom we have talked with, they told that it's a complete mess. The search engine is extremely outdated, and basically you need to go through a lot of decisions to find the information which is indeed relevant. What we have done, we have launched our machinery, and the very next day we've had the platform up and running with all that case law already parsed. We are working with the complete contents of the data. It doesn't matter whether what the format was, and thus they were extremely satisfied by searching in our platform, and they're actually doing that at the moment.
Okay, so the, you might say the strategy was to get hold of the public data that is on the websites of these competition authorities, the UK, EU, various parts of Europe, in a local jurisdiction level, and then use your NLP to create a case law system. But it just goes back to your point. I mean, don't LexisNexis and Thomson Reuters and VLEX and others, don't they do this already?
Actually, the more classical providers, they are rather outdated in terms of technology, which takes a lot of time to manually annotate document, to tag things. And in majority of cases, the search engine itself is really weak in terms of relevance. That's why, yes, they are finding something, but still not perfect. And a particular example of why we are strong, imagine the new user coming into the platform. What we have seen is like the document saved after 1 minute in the platform, even though it was a new user who has never used our system, which means that he has found directly what he wanted. Another example, I won't name the classical provider, but there was a comparison search between our platform and the classic platform. And the result was that after 2 hours of work, the person haven't found the relevant information. In our platform, 5 minutes, straight to the point, the document is there.
Okay, well, let's just talk briefly about the technology. So you're saying that there's no sort of tagging involved, there's no human intervention in terms of sort of mapping out the key terms and so forth. This is all sort of I don't know what you're using, a neural network or something. I mean, how are you doing this?
Yeah, so I suppose you have heard about things like BERT introduced by Google and other things like that. So we are using all that stuff because, yeah, you need to profit things which are available, but we have also done layers on top of that so that it really works. And yeah, based on our benchmarking, that works really good. That's how it works.
Okay, and then the last two things, which is the mentioned at the beginning. So you will also connect with a law firm's own KM library.
Yeah, Yeah.
So, and then the other bit is, which that makes sense. The other bit that I didn't quite understand was you were talking about e-discovery. How does this connect to e-discovery?
For the e-discovery, actually, our strength is that imagine that there is a huge litigation case. It's usually accompanied with quite a few documents. So it can be thousands, even hundreds of thousands, millions of documents which are accompanying the case.
Mm.
And lawyers, once again, need to search inside the documentation quickly so that they don't miss the thing. And here I will cite one of our users who has told that, okay, we've had a litigation case during multiple years. Obviously, there are some things which are already forgotten, etc., etc. And thanks to our system, they have found the particular document which permitted to change the situation completely. So that's, once again, we push into all the data set. We make the platform more or less similar to the one you have just seen,
Right.
and then you start searching inside.
I see. So, but when you say e-discovery, then it's not what you might call classic e-discovery, where you're trying to remove documents from a doc stack so that you can then manually, review them. What you're doing here is you're looking at a big doc stack and you're trying to retrieve and find the key documents that are going to be relevant to the case, or
Yeah, so actually we are really powerful, especially in the beginning of the case when you are just getting the whole bunch of documents and you want to find what information is really important there. So indeed, we are more in the proposition of, okay, put all the documentation inside and then start to find relevant things.
got you. And are you working with companies like, Relativity and people like that so that you can engage with a broader sort of e-discovery world?
So for the moment, not. Indeed, from our customers, we've also heard some proposition maybe to be a bit in a closer contact, because that's something which can also be a mutually interesting thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I mean, companies like that are obviously very good at the workflow side of it all and arranging all the data. But that's really interesting. And just the last question, really, which is, how did this all get started? So, you were just walking down the street one day and said, "Oh, I know, I'll create an NLP-driven competition law database."
Actually, here everything started as usual by a meeting of two people. So me, I was more towards the data science. So I'm a PhD in math, and yeah, I was always working towards the data analysis and artificial intelligence. And then we have met with my co-founder, who is a lawyer, who has worked for many years in the major consulting firm, and there was a pain. So that's how it all started. So that.
Oh, I see. Okay, interesting. And you've been going since 2018, is that right?
Yeah, so the company was established, I think, in 2019, like in January, but obviously we have worked before that.
So yeah, so so none of you have actually met each other yet because you've been in lockdown the whole time or something.
No, we started just before the lockdown, so yeah, we've had an opportunity to discuss in person.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Well, good luck with everything, and keep Artificial Lawyer posted as things develop. But for now, let's leave it there. Thank you very much.
Of course, thank you. Have a nice day.